Hi, Nicole.
On April 1st, 2026, a detective in Woodford County, Illinois, showed up at a woman's door with an arrest warrant. 2 counts of Class 1 felony theft, alleged, total between $1 million and $5 million. She had been the bookkeeper. She had the access. The investigation took 2 years and a stack of subpoenas to prove it.
Yes.
I'm Sam Edison from the Lexington Police Department.
Hi.
You want to come out? Are they friendly?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
You want to come in?
Is it okay if I come in?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you. Hi, guys.
Say hi.
Are you here by yourself?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you have a warrant for your arrest.
I do.
Yeah. We're going to basically go to the El Paso Police Department.
Okay.
And I'll talk to you about that.
Okay.
Okay. So, do you have any shoes that you want to take that are different? Okay. If it's okay, since you have a warrant, I told you that, people kind of get freaked out. We get freaked out because we don't want anybody to get hurt. If it's okay, he'll get those shoes for you. If you want to let him know where they're at.
They're right around the corner of the closet. Okay. I'm being arrested.
So you have a warrant.
I don't know what that means.
A warrant. So yeah, a warrant was issued for your arrest.
Okay.
So and that's we'll go talk about that. I'll tell you more about what I know about it. We can kind of talk about it.
So I don't know what a warrant means.
Just means a judge has requested to see.
Right.
Is this for my house?
Like there were charges. No, there's charges.
Oh my God, are you guys taking my house?
No, we're not taking your house.
Just listen.
We're not taking your house.
No, just listen. Well, it's easier to talk about it all at once than it is to give bits and pieces while we're standing here. That's why he's going to take you down to El Paso, have a conversation with you, explain everything, and then it will make a lot more sense once he explains everything. But giving bits and pieces here doesn't make sense.
Let me start by telling you what I know. Because, I've been working on this since 2024. I don't know if you remember meeting me. We didn't really meet.
Your face is familiar to me.
So when you showed up at Lexington Trucking Trailer and John told you didn't work there anymore,
That was you?
I was there,
okay.
yeah. And so after that, John told me that they believed that the company was losing money. Mm-hmm. And so they had their accountants just kind of audit everything and see what was going on. Mm-hmm. And they found a bunch of things that were concerning to them. So I'm going to backstep just a little bit. Investigations are like puzzles, right? It's trying to find all the pieces that go to the puzzle and put them all together to make sure you have an accurate picture of the puzzle. I found a lot of the pieces to the puzzle. I think I've got a pretty good idea of the picture of the puzzle, but I might not know everything. I may not have all the pieces, and sometimes we don't know that we don't have some pieces of the puzzle until we know, right? And so that's kind of why I wanted to talk to you, because I want to make sure, number one, that I have an accurate picture of the puzzle, that I'm not assuming something or missing something that may help me understand what was going on, or that may explain some things. And so that's where this conversation comes into play. So the pieces to the puzzle that I have. So when John said, "Hey, we're losing money," we had our accountant look into things. Here's what they found. My investigation began with subpoenas. So a subpoena basically is a court record that you send to a company. I mean, anybody really, that says, you have to produce these records for this investigation, right? So I sent subpoenas to your bank accounts, everything that you had on record with Lexington Trucking Trailer, to their banks. And I got all the statements back because I needed to see, hey, where's the money coming out of and where is it going into? So I did that. And I mean, you know what we found. Multiple payroll transactions that weren't authorized payroll transactions. So they also, when they did the audit, found credit card statements. On the credit card statements, things that didn't appear to be business transactions. Okay. Like Walmart, Amazon, some other things. Okay. And so I did the same thing with Walmart and Amazon. I sent them subpoenas and said, hey, I want information about all this stuff, what it is, who bought it, where to get it shipped, where to get picked up, who picked it up, all that stuff. And I get all that stuff back. So basically what I did is I looked at everything, put it all together, and that led me to you and where we're at today. So, do you want to talk about that? Do you want to tell me, what was going on with Lexington Trucking? I mean, I know that you and Mary Jo were the two that did payroll, right? You guys are responsible for doing payroll.
Yeah.
You did it in QuickBooks. You were authorized to make purchases for the company using Greg's card or John's. I'm not sure how you picked whose card to use. I know that's really irrelevant.
They were on file, and I was not the only one making Amazon purchases.
Okay.
But there was a lot going on at Lexington Truck.
Okay.
A lot.
It's okay.
I don't want to talk about it.
I understand. I really do. I would guess this has kind of been lingering in the back of your mind, you know, over the past several years. It's been a while, right? Sometimes when somebody does something wrong and that they're clearly ashamed of, you know, maybe it's something out of character for them, it's kind of a relief to get it over with. I'm not saying that's you or that's not you. Sometimes it's helpful to talk about it. Again, I feel like I've got a pretty clear picture of things. I am curious for you to say there was a lot going on at Lexington Trucking Trailer. What's that mean? Are there things going on there that maybe I don't know about or that were going on?
That I never reported.
Okay.
I should have left a long time ago from that place. I love John and Greg, and I 1,000% regret. John did not protect me. Greg did not protect me. Greg was just as bad as his uncle. John didn't know about Greg, but John knew about Steve and kept him working there. Gave him a raise. Can I take this off?
Sure.
I put up with sexual harassment from Steve Anderson and Greg I left Dustin in 22, so I'm going to say since 21. John knows about Steve.
Okay.
John knows about the messages from Steve. John would not let Steve go. John doesn't know about Greg because obviously, as you know, Greg is John's stepson. Greg was very inappropriate. I've never said anything because Greg has a family. Greg has grandkids. Greg is married. I don't know what his wife knows or doesn't know.
I don't know Steve.
He's,
Maybe I've seen him, but I don't, you know, I haven't really talked to many employees at Lexington Trucking Trailer other than Mary Jo.
Steve is John's younger brother. He worked part-time, works, I don't know. And I don't know if you would call him, he would go to all the customers, like on certain days of the week. He would work Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And then he would meet with certain customers like Ryder or Estes and see if they had any jobs that we needed that they hadn't contacted me for. So I would say, since I have to look back in the messages from Steve, but I want to say 2021 is when it all started with Steve, and then Greg not so much, but it seems like once Greg knew about Steve, Greg got worse and worse and worse. I loved what I did there. I was good at what I did. I had a good customer rapport, and I should have just left or reported it. But again, Greg has a family. Greg has grandkids. John has a family. John's got grandkids.
So did maybe the unauthorized payroll transactions, was that maybe a little bit maybe of retaliation that, you know, you kind of getting back at them, hey, I told you that something bad's going on and you're not going to help me, so to put it a little bit bluntly, I'm just going to take some money. Is that, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to link those together. I'm definitely finding out new information that I didn't know before. I'm just trying to link that to the extra payroll transactions and the credit card purchases and things like that. Did Mary Jo know anything was going on?
Mary Jo knew.
Okay, knew about the harassment from Steve and Greg?
I don't, Greg, it was more so between him and I. I don't know how far back their camera system would go, but it would be caught on camera. It would be on camera.
Okay, so what would be on camera?
The hugs, the pats on the butt, the kisses on the cheek.
From
Greg.
Okay.
Steve, never so much as he didn't touch me per se. It was just, I guess, how he would come on. I don't know if the word is, if he would come on to me, but like aggressively, but not like in the physical aspect. Like he wouldn't leave me alone.
Yeah.
He wouldn't get out of my, he was very, 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 very inappropriate with things that he said to me.
And would that be in the office?
For Steve, no. Greg, I don't know how far back their cameras go.
Yeah.
But it would be with Greg, it was every morning when I came in the office.
Okay.
You know, at first I didn't mind it because at the time I was with Dustin, and Dustin really with my head, mentally, and verbally. So Greg would give me a hug in the morning and basically just be like, you're not a piece of shit, like Dustin would make me feel. But then after Dustin and I broke up, it was continual. Every day, every morning, a hug. Sometimes a pat on the ass, kiss on the cheek. He would try and throw things down if I had a shirt on that wasn't like you could see much, but he would try and throw things down my shirt, get me to bend over. The one day he told me that he had taken CLS that weekend. I don't know if it was the day before or if it was like from over the weekend. And he had told me he had taken CLS so he could be with his wife. And he had walked around the receptionist desk to where I sat so he could show me what he had going on. So this is 26. I'm gonna say either 23 or 24, beginning of 24.
Was Mary Jo in the office?
No, a lot of this doesn't happen when Mary Jo was there.
Okay. So it was my understanding that you two worked full-time, pretty much the same hours.
She was part-time.
But
She was
part-time.
Monday, Wednesdays and Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays, or a lot of time I didn't meet her on Friday because so we would switch off to where she would come in like maybe on a Tuesday, or she would be my cover. Like if I was on vacation, she would cover for the week. She knew about Steve 100%. And was pissed off at John that John did nothing to protect me or do anything to Steve.
Yeah.
Kept him in 2023. John gave Steve a $5 raise just because.
Did Mary Jo know about Steve because she witnessed it, or maybe did you confide in her?
I confided in her.
Okay.
She did notice in the very beginning, Steve would come in. He is supposed to work like 8 to 2. And so he would come in and get his marching orders from Greg, but then he would hang around. And then she noticed that he was coming back from his runs earlier to kind of hang out and talk to me and shoot the shit. And then she would leave to go home, and then Steve would start with his BS.
Okay.
Steve started, he wanted, how the whole thing with Steve started is that he wanted to know if I knew how to change his email address. Why don't you just create a new one? Like, what do you need a different email address? He had signed up for some, he's married. He had signed up for some, it wasn't like a Tinder. It was like people could, I guess it would be like it, but it was for older people.
Yeah, like a dating website?
Kinda, but it was like more for like booty calls. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna help you do that. I said, I don't condone cheating, and I'm not gonna set that up for you. Like, absolutely not. Well, then it kind of evolved, and him and his wife were having problems with their marriage. And John and Joanne were out west on some RV trip, one of their RV trips back in, I wanna say 21, 22. No, it was not 22, 20 or 21. John was out with Joanne out west on one of their RV groups. And so Steve cuts grass, and Steve will cut Lexington Truck in John's yard. And Steve was getting ready to head out for the evening, and I was heading out to the shop, and he stopped me at Greg's desk, and he said, "Can I touch your boobs?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." He goes, "Well, the reason why I asked is my wife, she had a double mastectomy, and I don't know what they feel like anymore. Can I just touch yours?" He asked me to stop out at John's house so he could go down on me. Greg has made mention several times. He wants to know what bra I'm wearing because when I walk, they move, and he likes to see them move on me.
Did anything consensual happen between you and Steve, or you?
No.
Like you never, gave in to the request?
No.
For you, I'm glad that, I'm sorry that happened to you, because I know as a woman, especially in some, a male-dominated workplace, I'm sure that's hard. And I know that's very damaging for women, so I'm sorry you went through some things like that.
Very much so.
So thinking back about, let's just talk about maybe the payroll stuff. Did Mary Jo know about any of that? Okay. I don't know how that works. How did that work?
What do you mean?
So did you put payroll transactions into QuickBooks? I'm not an accounting guy or
Do I need to have an attorney here?
Well, I mean, again, I can't tell you whether you do or not. I'm just trying to understand how that works. If you'd rather not talk about that, I understand.
I'd rather not talk about that.
Okay, that's okay.
Here's the first thing worth understanding. The detective read Nicole her rights, but on camera, that advisement is referenced only once, deep into the conversation, long after she had already been talking. The Supreme Court settled this in 1966, Miranda versus Arizona. Before, custodial interrogation officers must advise a suspect of 4 rights: to remain silent, that statements can be used against them, to have an attorney, and to receive a court-appointed attorney if they cannot afford one. The sequence matters because of what Nicole said before anyone mentioned her rights. She acknowledged ordering groceries on company accounts. She confirmed using the company credit card. She identified which owner's card she used more. None of that is trivial. Those admissions go directly to the elements the state must prove: unauthorized control, specific purchases, and identity of the account used. The prosecution will argue those statements were voluntary. Whether they hold up depends on custody. If Nicole was already in custody when the conversation began, which is arguable the moment a detective shows up with a warrant, Miranda applies. The Berkemer versus McCarty ruling from 1984 draws that line. At 14 minutes and 45 seconds into the footage, Nicole asked, "Do I need to have an attorney here?" That sentence did not protect her. Under Davis versus United States, decided in 1994, the invocation must be unambiguous. A question is not an invocation. The legally correct phrasing is direct, "I want an attorney before I answer any more questions." That sentence stops the interrogation entirely. The framing Nicole used left the detective no obligation to stop, and he did not stop. The detective's response was legally accurate. He said he could not advise her on whether she needed counsel. That is the right answer. But it is also the answer that keeps the conversation going, which served the investigation. Nicole did exercise the Fifth Amendment correctly on 2 specific topics. She declined to discuss the payroll mechanics. She declined to say where the money went. The detective accepted both declinations without pressure. That part of the encounter was handled by the book. The charges themselves come from Illinois Criminal Code Section 16-1. Theft is tiered by dollar amount. The first count covers $100,000 to $500,000. The second covers $500,000 to $1 million. Both are Class 1 felonies. Class 1 sits just below Class 10 in Illinois. Sentencing range 4 to 15 years in state prison, fines up to $25,000 per count, and mandatory restitution. This is not a low-end outcome. The detective's evidence came from subpoenas, court orders sent to banks, Walmart, Amazon, and other vendors, requiring them to produce transaction records. The vendors sent back spreadsheets. Nicole's name was on the orders. Her address was on the shipping labels. One thing defense attorneys will argue, Nicole had authorized access to those accounts. She was the bookkeeper. But authorization to use a system is not authorization to steal from it. Illinois law requires only that control be unauthorized, not that access was. Nicole also disclosed something the detective did not have on record: years of workplace sexual harassment from 2 supervisors starting around 2021. She reported it to ownership. Nothing happened. She stayed. Investigators later examined those allegations separately and found them unsubstantiated. Not enough evidence to prove the conduct occurred. That matters for trial, but it does not end the relevance of the disclosure entirely. At sentencing, Illinois law, under 730 ILCS 5, Section 5-5-3.1, allows a history of abuse or victimization to be presented as a statutory mitigating factor. The defense will use this. The question is how much weight the court gives it. The detective also observed a pattern in the financial records. The unauthorized deposits and purchases started small in 2021 and grew steadily through 2023. That escalation is what prosecutors call fraud creep, evidence of willfulness, not impulsive error.
I mean, was that kind of the same thing, I told you I was being harassed and you're not doing anything to help me. I'm just going to buy some stuff.
I'm curious to say what they're thinking that I spent, because John and Greg were on there And so, like, how did they differentiate? Oh, this is all Nicole?
Well, so they didn't know who did it. They just saw all these transactions on the
Right.
credit card statements, right?
Right.
And so I sent subpoenas to Walmart, Amazon, some other companies,
Okay.
and said, give me the details of these transactions. And they did. I mean, they sent me pages and pages and pages of information, spreadsheets. I almost went blind going through spreadsheets. There's so much information. And so I weeded through it all, but there's a list of things that were bought. And so basically what I did is I took the list of everything that was purchased and gave it to them and said, is this stuff that you use for business or not? Now, clearly there were things that were, and clearly there were things that are not. Like, I mean, and I don't have a list of stuff with me. Groceries at Walmart, lots of groceries we order from Walmart. You know, picked up in Piatone and Bourbonnais and Noble and with your information as the person ordering them. So, I mean, that told me, okay, when, you know, I think Greg told me, it was either Greg or John that said, periodically we would have company picnics, whatever. We would say, hey, buy paper plates, buy whatever was going on with the occasion that they were going to have an office party or whatever you want to call it. Things like that were authorized. We would buy, but I mean, groceries definitely weren't. We didn't tell anybody to buy groceries.
Right.
So, I mean, the groceries are the things from Walmart that really kind of stuck out as, okay, especially, you know, again, your information is the one ordering them. They're being picked up in, you know, different places. So,
Yeah.
I don't want to say it was obvious, but it was pretty obvious. So, was there anybody else involved with that? Like, so you ordered stuff from Walmart, and again, I don't do this either, but I kind of have an idea how it works. You order it online, and you just go pick it up. Did anybody else pick the groceries up? Just you, and you take them home. Do you have any idea how much you spent
No.
on groceries? Okay.
You're right.
Amazon was kind of the same way. Amazon obviously is all shipped, right? You don't go pick stuff up at Amazon.
Correct.
I know there were things, you know, delivered to Lexington Trucking Trailer. They actually used to get packages all the time here. They just got packages. Sometimes I think you had things delivered to your house. It was just seemed to be a little random, but it was all over the place. Again, was there anybody else involved with that stuff? That was just you? Okay. Any idea from Amazon how much you spent? Okay. Was that, were those things purchased while you were at work? Or did you do it at home or you did it at work? Did you actually have one of their credit cards?
It sat in a thing underneath my receptionist desk, but with Amazon, I don't know if you're familiar with it, you can store the cards.
Yeah, okay. And so you just,
And John had his on there for whatever he wanted to buy. Greg had his on there for whatever he wanted to buy, either the company card or his personal card.
yeah, okay. And over, I guess, the time that we were looking at, they changed credit card numbers, I don't know, I'll bet 4 or 5 times.
We had, and it wasn't because of Amazon. A lot of times John would buy stuff off of his phone that wasn't like off a Facebook website.
Yeah.
And he would order stuff and we would get hacked.
And so they would just cancel.
We would
those,
have to get new
those.
cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't anything. It was a lot of times it was when John was on Facebook, like, or Marketplace, and he would use his credit card, his company card,
Yeah.
and we would get hacked.
Yeah.
Because I would go to balance the statement and be like, okay, they're from California. John, did you order this? Yes or no? Greg, did you order this? Yes or no?
Yeah.
So, because a lot of times, like when you order from Amazon, you get like an invoice or a thank you with the invoice. So Greg and John were supposed to give me, like, if they used their company card, they were supposed to give me that printout so that way I could put it in the file for when the credit card statement came.
I see. And then you would pay the credit card. Yeah, the bills. Okay. Where else did you buy stuff from with their credit cards?
I don't know. I think it was just Amazon or Walmart.
I got the feeling from some of the stuff that were purchased that you're a Halloween person.
Oh, yeah. Oriental Trading.
Okay, yeah. A lot of Halloween stuff. Like big order Halloween stuff. And that was all, I'm guessing, shipped to your house. I think that stuff was shipped to your house. Yeah, if I remember correctly, yeah. What about Holiday Inn? Did you ever book a room from Holiday Inn in California?
No.
There was a Holiday Inn charge on their credit card that was in, I just lost the name of it, some city in California.
I've never been to California.
Okay.
I'm wondering if that was one of the ones that was the one that shut the credit card down. Like it was a false charge.
Compromised.
Yeah, because
Holiday told me nobody ever showed up,
yeah,
but that wasn't you.
no,
Okay.
I'm wondering if that because it was in California. I've never been to California.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm wondering if that was one of the fraudulent charges.
Okay. Could
Because
be.
I had to ask Greg and John, because John was always traveling with his RV.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't have made sense, so no.
Okay.
What me?
Okay. Yeah. So basically, what they did first, and then what I did after I got involved was just looked at everything and said, is that something company would buy, or is that a company that your company would buy something from? And Holiday was like, absolutely not. We don't say
Yeah.
Holiday, and so
Yeah.
I basically just took everything and tried to figure out where it went, where it came from, where it went, who might have made the purchase, and things like that. So, is there any other place that you can think of that you want to use a credit card?
I mean, it's been 2 years since I've been there.
Yeah.
So, and I have a hard time remembering what I did yesterday.
Yeah. Did you ever use a credit card in person?
No,
Like at Walmart
no.
or somewhere else? It was always online? Okay.
Yeah, not, I never did.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever did, but no, because John and Greg had their own credit card on. Greg has bought beer with it before,
Okay.
but I have never personally taken a credit card.
What about like Dollar General or Casey's? Or,
If I
think there was some charges.
A lot of times that was
Greg.
Greg. Greg did all the Casey's. If there was Casey's pizzas, we were having a pizza party, then we used the credit card underneath my desk. But if he went to, if we needed like plates and stuff upstairs, he went to Dollar General and got it himself with the credit card, but his personal, like,
One he had.
correct,
Okay.
and his name through the company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever use anybody else's other than John or Greg's credit card? Which one do you think you used more?
Greg, the company Greg one.
Okay. I feel like you're being very honest, and I appreciate that. I just want you to know I appreciate that, because I know this is hard to talk about.
It is.
And I just want you to know I appreciate you being honest. Because, a lot of the questions I ask you, I know the answer to. I'm just looking for honesty and or maybe a little bit more of an explanation, because maybe I don't have the full picture. I know we don't want to talk about the payroll stuff. The payroll stuff is kind of pretty cut and dry, almost. I mean, it came out of their account, went into your account. So, and again, basically I just took all those and marked the ones that were on payday and the ones that weren't on payday, and that's how I came up with those.
I guess the biggest thing what's going to happen now.
Yeah, so since you have a warrant, a warrant basically means, so when someone gets arrested, right? So let's say you stole a candy bar from Casey's. That's, whenever cops talk about theft, we always pick candy bars from a gas station, I don't know why. We would show up, we would arrest you, take you to the county jail, and you would post bond. If it's so a candy bar, probably you wouldn't post bond because it's a low offense. The higher the offense, the more your bond would be. Well, several years ago, the state of Illinois passed a no bond bill that says nobody has to pay bond anymore. If you get arrested for something, you still can go to the county jail, or you can go to a different jail. You get fingerprinted, take your picture, and then you get a court date. So nowadays, there's no bond. You don't have to post bond.
Okay.
If it's a felony offense, here's our felonies. So you have 2 counts. I'll explain those in a minute.
Okay.
If it's a felony offense, you have to see a judge.
Okay.
In order for, and I'm going to try to explain this. Maybe I shouldn't, because it's not my side of the law and justice system. But there'll be a hearing. The state's attorney has to tell the judge whether or not they want the judge to hold you in custody, as opposed to letting you go until your court date. They would have to meet a burden of proof for the judge to hold you in court or in jail until your court hearing.
Okay.
Typically, that threshold is: are you a danger to society or not? You're not a danger to society. So likely what will happen, and don't take this for exactly, because I'm not part of that process. I'm part of the process of I take you to the county jail, they process you and do their thing, and I leave. So, but what I believe will happen is you'll have to see a judge because it's a felony offense.
Okay.
The state's attorney will say whether or not they think you should be held into your court date, and then they will, for lack of a better word, come up with a plan for your release.
Okay.
You know, so I don't know what that would look like. I don't know what arguments they make. I don't know.
So when you say I go in front of the judge, I'll be there when the state's attorney is trying to
Yes.
decide if I need to stay until court or.
So what used to happen and what still happens is if you get arrested, so they have court every day at 1 o'clock
Okay.
for custody hearings. So if you get arrested and you're in custody, you get taken to the jail to felony, you go to a custody hearing.
Okay.
Well, the custody hearings are at 1 o'clock every day, I think. They used to be at 1 o'clock. So you'll have to be in jail until 1 o'clock until you go to that hearing. So if you get arrested at 7 a.m., you can probably make the 1 o'clock court hearing. You may not have to spend the night in jail. Clearly, it's
I'll
after
have
the
to
business
stay.
hours.
Yeah.
You'll have to spend the night there. You'll see a judge tomorrow at a bond hearing, I believe. Now, I also think, and again, I don't know for sure because I'm not on that side of it, there may be like a window of when you have to see a judge. So the state's attorney may say, hey, we need another day to look at this before we're ready for a hearing. And so it could be 2 days. I think for some reason 48 hours sticks in my head of they have to have a hearing within 48 hours.
Okay.
Again, that may not be right because that's not I don't do that kind of thing. I just don't want you to go, well, Tim told me I was going to be out tomorrow. I think you probably will be, but you might not be. And I just don't know. So I'm just trying to be kind of transparent and honest as I can with you.
Will I have a public defender?
I believe they will ask you, so it'll be, I don't know, honestly. You can have a public defender, yeah. So if you can't afford, like I read you in your rights, if you can't afford an attorney, the court will represent one or will assign one to represent you.
Okay.
If you say, I've got my own attorney, I don't need him, that's fine too. So you can call your attorney at that point.
Okay.
At the hearing, I don't know who will be there. I know the state attorney will be there. I don't know if a representative from the public defender's office is there.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know
32
how that-
years, I don't think I've ever been to a custody hearing, so I don't know what happens on them.
I watch SVU and I don't know if that's.
Well, I would say there could be some reality in SVU. Most of it's probably not reality. So,
Okay.
So the two charges, you have one warrant, but it's two charges.
Okay.
The two charges are both theft, and they're both based on dollar amounts.
Okay.
So one of them is $100,000 to $500,000.
Okay.
One of them is $500,000 to $1 million. Those are the thresholds for the charges. So,
Okay.
if you steal $30 worth of things, your the class would be here. If you steal $500, it's here. So it's in 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 10,000, 10,000. There's different ranges, dollar amounts for the severity of the charge.
Okay.
They're both class 1 felonies. So felonies go class 4 being the lowest felony. So the least crime that's a felony is a class 4 felony. So misdemeanors are a lesser crime. And then it goes from misdemeanors to felony. Class 4 felony is the least crime, is the least serious felony. Class M is a murder. Class X is the highest felony you can get. Class 1 is the second highest under Class X. So it goes 4, 3, 2, 1. And really, Nicole, that comes from the dollar amount. They look at seriousness of the crime in thefts by the dollar amount. So let me ask you this. Where did all that money go?
That's not something I want to discuss.
Okay, that's okay. You don't have to. From my perspective, it's always interesting to know, well, what's that person doing for all that money? Are they, living a high roller life? Are they paying medical bills? Do they have a sick kid? You never know. You never know what drives someone to say, I need more money, and what they spend it on. So, it's always not necessarily interesting, but sometimes helpful to know, to maybe give a little bit of an idea of the character of the person, what are they doing with all that money? It appeared from the beginning when you first started having the payroll deposits, they were, I don't want to say a reasonable amount, they were an amount. But then over time, it seemed to get more, almost like you're getting a little more brave. Back in 2023, there were way more deposits into your account than 2022, than 2021. And
During the investigation,
Now the grades. The detective receives an A-. His rapport building was deliberate and effective. His explanation of the Illinois Safety Act and the pretrial detention process was accurate. He respected Nicole's invocations of silence without hesitation. The deduction comes from the Miranda sequence. A clearly documented on-camera advisement before the substantive conversation would have sealed the admissibility of Nicole's statements. Without that, every admission she made is now a suppression target. Nicole receives a B. She protected herself on the two most damaging questions: payroll mechanics and where the money went. Those were smart stops. But she answered freely for the first 14 minutes, and those answers are in the record now. The unambiguous invocation lesson applies here directly. She had the right to say nothing from the moment the detective named the warrant. One sentence, "I want a lawyer before we talk," and none of the purchase admissions exist. Two lessons from this footage. First, when law enforcement arrives with a warrant, the time for voluntary conversation is already over. Anything said between the warrant announcement and the attorney's arrival can and will be used. Silence is not guilt, it is procedure. Second, for investigators, Miranda compliance is not just a formality, it is case protection. A clean documented advisement on camera before the first substantive question removes the suppression argument entirely. The Woodford County case lives or dies partly on that sequence. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out our channel for even more police interaction and courtroom content.